Hi. Okay. So this is I've got two camps of viewers. I have an Amiga camp, which is kind of a geeky. We all love the Commodore Amiga history, and I have my 360 video camera system people. So believe it, I'm trying to appeal to both. So what I'm doing here is, and you have to bear with me if you're in one camp or the other. What I'm doing here is I'm going to do a video all about the Commodore Amiga 2000. But I'm filming it in 360 with one of my Brahma duet rigs, which now at the end of this video, right at the end, there's going to be a how I made this, so that for those people that are interested, you can see the equipment I used, the software that I wrote, etc. So I'm going to shut up about the 360 and etc. now, and just let you enjoy this. Now, one little thing though is if you do actually have a look, hopefully if you pick whatever device you're looking at, look around, because you can see all the way round. You can see behind. If you look behind, you'll see there's a load of laptops and machines set up with different operating systems. It's got a ROS, Morphos, and AmiKit, and there's Amiga OS 4 4.1 over there. So yeah, so it's a bit of an Amiga nut. But yeah, so let me get on with this now, because otherwise I'll waffle on as usual, and people who've seen my videos know that I can talk and talk and talk. So, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go through a little bit of the history of the Amiga 2000 and why I think is it the best Amiga ever made? It's something that's recently, it's just made me think. When I go back into the making of this, I'm going to explain a little bit about how my interest in this and how I got involved, because it's a bit of an interesting story. And it's kind of ironic that I'm doing an Amiga 2000 video, but it's not as ironic as you think. But I decided to, if you look, you can see down here I've got an Amiga 1000, which I've already videoed. I've got my Amiga 3000, which I've already videoed. So now I think it's time for the 2000. And the 2000, is it the greatest Amiga ever? You know what, I think it might well be. It was first launched in, I think it was March 1980, early 1987. So it's pretty much 30 years old now. Not this one. This is a slightly newer version, a couple of years newer. But basically, the range is about 30 years old. Now, everything you're going to see here is on a machine that is potentially 30 years old, or so let's say 25 to 30 years old. And so I think it's, people take for granted the stuff you're going to see, but bearing in mind, at this particular point in time when this came out, PCs had green screens, Macs, they'd only just come out, they had, that's not quite true. When the 2000 came out, they had the high-end Macs. I forget the name of it, but they had a very high-speed Mac with colour display, which is not bad, but it couldn't do what this could do. You don't see many people nowadays using them, obviously, but the Amigas have always had this fantastic trick of being able to overlay computer graphics onto a video signal, because it's got the video signal timing is built into the hardware, which has made an awful lot of things possible. Now, one thing I will do is this is the first video. Now, I will later on be doing a separate video all about the video toaster and the changes it made. Originally, this was to be a video toaster, but but sadly, setting the machine up, because it's a PAL machine, there was confusion. I'll go into this later on. So anyway, so the 2000 is based on the original 1000 technology, and then let's be basic about this. It's the 1000 with slots. Okay, there's more to it than that, and I understand that, but it's basically a 1000 with slots and a big box. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. I think the 3000. I love the 1000, to be fair. So the 2000 was never particularly pretty, but it was functional and it worked well, and it's the workhorse. It's just the workhorse. So I think it's an amazing piece of design. It was actually the reason for the design. Actually, the case was Commodore Germany. This case was going to be used to build PCs, Commodore PCs, but they decided to use the case for the Amiga the 2000. Now, when it first launched, it had it came out with, or originally 1 mega chip was the original half a meg. I think yeah, because I've got a motherboard upstairs with half a mega chip RAM on it. It came with half a meg, but they quickly upgraded to 1 mega chip RAM. 68,000, but the key thing about it was that it had a 68,000, but it had 3 supporting chips in it. One was for graphics, one was for sound, and one was for handling all the DMAs, interrupts, blitter function, and a whole load of stuff. So if I get this wrong, it's going to be quite embarrassing. It was Agnes, Denise, and Paula, and they were basically the power that enabled the 68,000 to just basically not have to worry about anything else. It just had to send the odd instruction to these other coprocessors, which is the reason why it was so powerful. Right, now, so what I'm going to do is let me just show you the introduction. But this is how one of the ways it was introduced back in 1987. Now, a little thing you'll notice if you look on the left, you'll see there's I've had so much fun with this. But anyway, there's a big display here. Sorry. Here, this one's right. This display, let me get my hand in the right position. This display is what's coming out of the back of the Amiga's video circuitry. Okay, going through a genlock, and this display is me pointing the camera at this actual monitor because it's very hard to see this. Now I've exploded that right up. Now I was actually going to run the. See, I'm waffling now. We'll discuss that later on. Right, so let's have a look at the video. So have a look on this screen up here. I'm just going to run through now. What this is doing now is I'm playing through the video system into the genlock, and I'm overlaying with Amiga graphics. For those of you who have not seen this kind of thing, then try and put your mind back 30 years though, because this was absolutely groundbreaking. Anyway, so nowadays it's no big deal. Right, so okay, so let's get this started up. Right. First of all, Amiga 2000 launched 1987, and now I don't think this was a launch advert, but it's quite a nice little advert, so we'll watch this.
Each time a graphic artist gets a hold of a new and important tool, the result is equally new and important. The Commodore Amiga 2000 personal computer is radically expanding the art of the possible in the world of art and design. We're going to show you ways you can use this affordable new tool to expand the art of the possible in your studio or business. As a way to illustrate in 4096 colors, design logos and packages, to desktop publish in black and white and in color, and as a way to make winning presentations in virtually any medium. Now, look at what the Amiga 2000 can do for you.
Right, now the next video is about the video toaster. More on this later on. Now the video toaster made the Amiga. Sadly, Commodore went down during the height of the video toaster, which was very sad because we could have gone digital, but there you go. This is not a full history lesson. So let this play for a second. And all of this was done on here. You can see now I've taken this down from the internet. Fantastic device, and I will do a second video with it, but there's a lot of headaches that we'll go through. Right, let me pause that. Right, no, shut up now. It's going to be a bit of this. This is going to be a bit hit and miss. We'll see how we go. Right. So what I'll do now is I'm going to show you some pictures of this is my machine. Okay. So I'm going to show you some pictures of this, and then afterwards I'm going to go and explain exactly what's in this box. Okay. So here's well, you can see my 2000 sitting here, can't you? So there's the inside. Some shots of the inside. There you go. There's my CPU. People ask, they like these shots. Right, and then we're going to come to the end in a second. You can see the internals. Okay, so let's give you a look at the computer itself. So if you look up on this big screen, there we go. Right. So now let me. I'll see how I can do this. So right, let's start from the left, and we'll go right. So the first card on the left-hand side there is a macro system VLab motion card, which is a digital video recording card, which is in here, which I'm going to show you some output from that shortly. Next to that is an Ariadne network card, so that gives me access to the internet, anything to do with networking. After that is my GVP SCSI HC8 with a 2 gig SCSI drive, and that gives, obviously that's my hard disk access. Now the clever ones out there, well, I'll come to the oddity here. The next one is a CyberVision 64 graphics card. So the Amiga's capable of certain displays. So this display here, this one on the right, is all coming out of the Amiga circuitry through the genlock, and the one on the left is coming out through the CyberGraphics graphics card. So that gives me this high resolution, excuse me, 24-bit display. Now on the right hand side, you'll see the key thing. Now I'm going to give you another picture here so you can see it. See a better view of this. Okay, so this is a find that I made the other day, and this is a TechMagic 060 card. Now, the funny thing I said about the GVP SCSI was that it's got a SCSI controller on it, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. In fact, when I got it, I had to replace the CPU. I think it's a nightmare problems I have with it, but basically I managed to get it working. So I've got a 6860 CPU, and I have got a better fan on it now, one with actual stuck on with proper heat transfer tape. So it's got a much better fan on it now, and in fact it's a newer, it's got an FPU on it now. But anyway, so that's the heart of this system, because that gives me enormous amount of power. Well, compared to today, my machine that's recording this is probably 1,000 times faster than that. So everything you're going to see is, I mean, this, just so you know, this is running at 50 megahertz, not gigahertz, 50 megahertz. Now my PC over there is running at 4.4 gigahertz. So basically, 100 times, just in clock frequency, 100 times faster than this machine. Now the other thing is, my machine over there has 8 gigabytes of RAM on it, and this has 60 megabytes. So the difference is ridiculous. But you're going to see stuff that I can do now. Well, hang on a second, you know, really. Even today, it actually makes a usable system within certain constraints. Okay, but you can still actually use it. So there's my my CPU card. Right, so I've got everything. Yeah, I've shown you everything. Right. So yeah, as I was saying, I actually bought this to build a video toaster system, and then that's going to come later on. So I will do the video toaster video at some point, but I have to reconfigure. I've got to take off oscillators and so on. So it gets very complicated. Right. Now I did mention. I did mention that I have a VLab motion card in here. So if you look at this screen up here, and if I come onto here, let me see, make sure it's all working okay. Right, let me just here we go. Hang on a second. Yeah, no, that's alright. What? Hang on. Right, what I'm going to do is show you now. Ah, there you go. Right. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm using the VLab motion card. Now this is a recording this was recorded into the Amiga. Now bear in mind, it has a what's called a JPEG motion JPEG card. So I don't have a Takata sound card to go with this. With the VLab motion, I did look into getting one. There was one came available, but it was like nearly £200 or something just for this demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put some sound, which I pre-recorded through. I have an 8-bit sampler in the back of this, and this will actually show you the built-in sound generator, the sample sound, and playing this video at the same time. So what I'm going to do is it's going to take me a couple of seconds just to set this up. So I'm going to go into here, right, Babylon 5. I kind of have to do a few little things because it's not, this part is me just putting it together. to make up for that. I didn't want to spend £200 on the sound card, and that would have synchronised the sound with the video, which is obviously the thing you really want to do. Right, and you'll notice. I'll come back to that. Right, let me. I do have a habit of getting sidetracked, as people will probably know quite well. Right, so let me get this. Close this up. Now, I am running Workbench 3.1. I haven't upgraded 3.9, and I've got 3.1 upgraded with MUI, Magic Workbench, and I use Opus 5. Well, I use Opus 4 as well, but Opus 5 is for the system integration. So let me run this. And if that might do a separate subject on that. There's a good reason for it, because basically I found that 3.9 is a little bit on the slows everything down. Right. Now I've got that sound there, so that's ready to go. It's not going to be in sync, so just bear with me. But if you look on this screen up here, right, let's see if we can get this going. They are a bit out of sync. In fact, I'll pause this just for a second. I'll pause this so they catch up. So as you can see, this is actually being played straight. It's being played from the Amiga 2000's hard disk. And it's displaying it on here because it's got its own video circuitry in it, so it outputs it. And I'm kind of syncing it with the built-in audio of the Amiga. Now, if you had the actual card they recommend, the whole thing's 16-bit synchronized and everything, so it's much better. But I think this gives you a bit of a feel for what the potential is. I happen to like Babylon 5. I'm probably not going to run this all the way through because this is about 4 minutes long, this video clip. But I just wanted you to get a bit of a feel for it. I think we'll call that, and then we'll just let this big bad boy go through. So this is nice and smooth. It works really well. I mean, it used to work in combination with the video toaster. Amazing. There we go. Alright, I think what we'll do is we'll stop that now because we'll spend too long on that otherwise. Right, and we'll stop that. Okay, so let me quit that down. Right, so you can see we can do digital video. Now, obviously, NewTek also had their own product called the Flyer, which was their digital video implementation. And so between the two of them, Amiga, if the Commodore hadn't gone bust, we would have moved into the digital arena, and we would have been way ahead of everyone else because the analog side was absolutely fantastic with the toaster and just basic genlocking. So we'd have been way ahead, but of course that whole thing's a very sad story. But yeah, there you go, it's life. So one thing I didn't show, I suppose, and which I could do now, if I just switch over to here and we'll run this. So basically, the other thing, of course, you could do is you could do. Let me open this up again. Obviously, I mean, I've shown you with video, but you could do this with yeah. Oh, we're playing. So this is the fun of old computers. Bear with me. Got a dodgy port in the back of the VLab Motion. So yeah, let me just pop that up. So yeah, so it could be live video, so it would stream. All the Amiga computer graphics would be over the top, and the background color 0, was transparent. But obviously on my device, I have all kinds of toys, so I can turn them on and off. I can switch between just Amiga Vision or just video. See, so amazing what you could do with it, and of course that would then go back to tape or be put into digital video. So that's all that. So let me just yeah, you don't want to look at my face, do you? Right, there we go. Let's close that up. And of course, if you'll notice that what I'm running on here there's a program called Scala, which was an amazing piece of software, was around for many years, and in fact this still going, and basically it used to use the power of the Amigas right from the early days to be able to build multimedia, because the Amiga was a multimedia machine in 1985. Okay, 1986. It really started exploding in 1987 when 2000 came along. But it was a true multimedia machine, and all the other like the Macintosh and the PC, etc. I mean, they were just rubbish. I mean, they just didn't even understand the subject, let alone be able to do it. And over time, they caught up with Windows 95. To be honest, Windows 95 changed things. It actually caught up. But the clue there was in the title, 95. It took that long for it to really be any use. So you know, it's a fantastic machine. And Scala was absolutely amazing at putting all this together. I mean, at one point I was doing presentations with it and big arenas and stuff like that. We had some great fun with that. So that's Scala. Now let's have a quick look at some other programs as well while we're at it. So you're going to be seeing them on this screen up here for now. So let me close down Scala. Quit. And I'm just going to show you some other applications that were around at the time. So, for example, Brilliance. I mean, one of my favourite paint programs. Here we go. Brilliance is absolutely amazing. Always defaults to the wrong size. Absolutely amazing. So, it was a paint program that, I mean, one of the Amiga's paint programs. It had let's load up a picture. Not a very flash picture, I'm afraid. Brilliance. Images. Let's just do the welcome one. Oh no, this might take it. Keep going. Screen mode. Yeah. Right, so basically, Brilliant. Now, Brilliance was really good because it could take in any sort of image and it'll remap it and so on. Now, this has just remapped itself into 16 colours. Okay, let me get rid of that. Now, I mean, actually on here it probably looks really good, but this is actually a 256 colour image. Okay, and Brilliance is absolutely amazing because you know you could do these amazing graphics with it. If you remember D-Paint, as people used to use D-Paint. D-Paint's an amazing program, built-in animation, but Brilliance was. You know, when I first heard them, oh yeah, it is. It was just absolutely amazing. Right, so what I'm going to do is show you now, let's show you some 3D. So one of the things that the Amiga's quite famous for, in fact that video clip I showed you, was using a product called Lightwave 3D. So let me just load that up. This is not an in-depth demonstration, obviously. But basically, let me just switch so you get a nice bit of a colour display. Right, there you go. So basically, Lightwave was one of the first professional level 3D. Well, that's probably not true, but it was very well used by the movie and the TV industry in the States, and it kind of spread around from there. Now, people used to buy the video toaster just for Lightwave. It's an amazing piece of software. Can you see on the screen? Yes. So let me just load up a scene, probably one well, no, you won't recognise this unless you're an Amiga owner. I'll just load this up. Now, if you look on my on this picture here, you can see the desktop background. That was done with Lightwave. Here we go. So now, so basically, you had this nice view. You had this an easy to use system, so I can scroll through now. Even though I've got no 60, you know, compared to nowadays with advanced GPUs and that kind of thing, obviously it's not going to compete. If I switch this into camera mode, here we go. And if I now scroll around, you can see the display changes, and it comes out. Now this is another thing where if you actually use this in emulation, this is really fast, actually quite usable. It's quite amazing. And what that would do is then, you would go off and you would render that. In fact, I have actually got a copy of a picture here that I did a quick render. This is quite an old. Hang on, let me put in here 3D. Images, and in here, here's the output. So if you look on the screen, and there's a screenshot that came out of that. Now, Lightwave has done, I mean, you saw it did that video earlier on. That was done with Lightwave. It's an amazing piece of software. Some fantastic stuff. I mean, nowadays it's full broadcast quality. I mean, no, this is broadcast quality to be fair, but it's up. It's even being used in the big movies today. It's quite a big name, so anyone in the special effects industry will know Lightwave as one of the big players. And that started a long time ago with the Amiga. In fact, I was using, it was quite funny because before the video toaster came out, I remember sitting in a cafe and there was a program. If I click on Modeler here to take you into here, this is based on a program called Videoscape, and which is written by the same guy, Tim Hastings. I haven't got his name right. And I remember sitting in a cafe before Modeler came out, and I used to do the grids for the 3D graphics, and I used to do them on a piece of paper. And then I'd take them home and I'd write them in. And then Videoscape came out and you didn't have to do and then he had this modeler with it. So, which is absolutely amazing. So, again, I can't go into detail. I haven't got time to go into all this. Maybe another day. So basically we've got that. Now another thing that people are really interested in is obviously sound. And the Amiga's got built-in 8-bit. Now it doesn't sound like much nowadays. 8-bit sound sampling. But if I load up this program called Octamed, which is kind of one of the popular sound packages for musicians to create music within the Amiga. So a lot of the demo scene was done with mods. So let me load up. And I have to remember how to use this. It's in here. These two. Oh no, on that one. What I want is media, music, and I do have some mods in here. Let's pick that one. Play. I've not loaded it, have I? Load. Oh God. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm just tell I don't use it an awful lot. Right, so now we go to play. Yeah, and it's it's just amazing what you could do with them. I got my first 500, and then I got 1000 about 6 months later. Funny enough, but you could do so much with the Amiga because it was crazy. You had 4 channels of 8-bit sound, which you could take even further. Let me just turn that down just a bit. You can do amazing things with this, and there were you could play this and mix it with graphics. So you've seen it in the actual program there. If I now go to stop and then miscellaneous, let's just come out of here. Now that file could be used if I was to come into here. Now that file's been created, and I'm not saying it's created with that program. Let's go into now. You notice I use Directory Opus 4. Now I actually run Directory Opus 5. So if you click on here, you get my listers. But I still like 4. It's such a great piece of software, easy to use. So let's go and just pick a different one. Let's go relax. And now all I double click. Yeah. Of course now I've got a funny feeling that's just going to play that. It's going to carry on playing that. Well, we'll have that in the background, shall we? Right. Oh, let's turn that down. I forgot about that. So basically my point was you could load these mods and use them in many other different systems. So that's absolutely amazing. So now, yes, all right, okay, yes, it's quite a boring tune actually, isn't it? I don't think killing that's. Oh, it did. Look, that's handy. Good. Okay, so that's killed that. That's brilliant. So right, now that's some basic Amiga applications. Now let's do something a bit more up to date. We've got this network card in there. Why don't we see if we can do something that's a bit more up to date? So let me just see if I shut down this. I might regret it. I'm not using this for anything else, am I? Okay. Yep, that's still there. That's good. Right. Let me just. What have we got on the screen? Okay, let's. What I want to do now is I'm actually going to start. I'm going to be using this big display now for the things you're going to see. So what I want to do now is I want to go online. Oh, before I do that, let me just show you this now. Because I've got this 060 in here, granted now, but I can play MP3 players. MP3 players. I can play MP3 music. Now I can only give you a small snapshot of this. And this is an album, one of my albums. Let's go. I'm going to, because of the problems with copyright infringement on YouTube, I've got to be careful with this. I'm going to do a very, very small piece of this, a couple of seconds. But this is basically 16-bit output going through the 8-bit sound chip in the Amiga. Okay? Right, I'm going to give you a few seconds of this, see if you recognise what this is. You might be able to see it on the screen actually. That'll do. Otherwise they'll flag it and I'll have a problem with it. So we've got this nice MP3 player in here. Anyway, let's get on to something else. So let's actually go online now, shall we? So let's, first thing, now it's non-automatic. I run a program called Miami. You'll notice a lot of my software on here is not registered. And this is because I've just rebuilt this system, and sadly I need to get registered, but you can't register them easily nowadays. It's an absolute nightmare. So I'm more likely going to get this all registered up. But anyway, so there you are. You'll notice like my icons have got not registered as well. God knows how you register them. That someone's going to send me a text saying it's really easy to register. We still do it, and if it's true, I'll get them, no problem at all. Right. So anyway, I've got this loaded. Now Miami was. It's one of the ways that we used to get online onto the internet. So now you can see I'm online, and what I'm going to hide that. And the first thing I'm going to do is, say for example I want to do some FTP work. So the good thing now, I'm going to show you a little bit. Let me close this down now. Because I've got Opus 5 on this, I can double click on here, right? So I can navigate through my system. Now I can also do things. So for example, I really like this. So if I open this up now, oh god, let it set into that mode. I can switch this and put this into icon action mode. So you see the icons, but you've still got these tools at the top. So for example, if I open that up, which doesn't open up, where's media? Here we go. Let's go into there. And if I go in to look at this, I can then go back up again, etc. So some nice tools in there. Again, it could do a video on its own on that. I've kind of got sidetracked, haven't I? So, oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. So I'm going to go into FTP. So one of the good things about Opus 5, I have FTP built into it. So let's say Aminet. Right, I want to connect to Aminet. So now this is just connecting anonymously to Aminet, and I have access to all the Aminet files on my desktop. Yeah? I mean, how cool is that? So that's FTP. Most people nowadays don't know what FTP is anyway. Right, so the next thing, let's go iBrowse. Now iBrowse is quite nice. Now the thing with browsing the web on old classic Amigas is they really start to struggle with the performance of the system, because the modern websites are very, very they have style sheets, lots of JavaScript, and it becomes a little bit too much for the lack of memory, the lack of processing power. But for a lot of sites that play friendly, we can still access them. So I mean, here's one of the big most popular Amiga sites you can go out to. So I'm browsing on there. In fact, funnily enough, my site works well. It starts off very slowly. So if you have any interest in what I'm up to, just go to www.amiga.net. Now, bearing in mind it goes blank, and it's going to take a little while before it comes up because I'm doing a load of stuff. And of course, if you're browsing this from a more modern browser, then it would be instantaneous. Assuming it's going. I know it comes up. It does come up. Just there we go. It's doing stuff in the background, so it's before it actually displays anything, but it does work. Now, some of the Amiga sites out there, here we go. Here you can see. So you can have a look at that, and you can see some of the stuff that I get involved with. Some stuff I've done quite a lot of stuff with AROS, hence me mentioning it earlier. So that's browsing on the internet. But you might also want to do, which is quite nice. Oh, it's not on here. Look, I haven't got it in here. One of the things that I'm not on there that much these days. I have to be honest. No, it's not in there, is it? Let me go into. Bear with me. Sorry about this. I'm able to remember where it all is. Wookie Chat. And Wookie. Here we go, Wookie Chat. Which is a fantastic system for, it's based, I'm not sure if it's IRC or it's along the lines of IRC, but basically it's an online chat site. Let's see if we can get loaded up. Let's go to Freenode, Chat, Connect. Here we go. And host name. So it's going to log onto this server, and then you can chat to once it gets there. Here we go. So now I'm logged into the AROS one, and there's more FOSS one, and you can see all these people listed down here and conversations that are going on. So it's a great way of chatting to people on the internet. So there's that great program, which I must admit, when I was working at doing stuff with AROS, which I'm going to come back to AROS because it's now got multi-core support, so it's SMP compatible with the new version being worked on. So that's going to be quite something. Let's pop this back up here. Right. Let's darken this down because it's kind of distracting, isn't it? So that's a really nice. Now, one more thing you can do if you've got access to the internet. Oh, let's just leave that there. One more thing you can do if you've got access to the internet is something I do all the time. Now, a lot of people out there, if you're systems administrators, okay, we have remote desktop. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that you get yourself an Amiga and you do all this. Here we go. That you do this using an Amiga. But what I want to show you is it actually does actually work. Okay. Oh, hang on a second. My screen mode. Okay. Let's log back on again. It seems to. It's picked a mode that I haven't set up correctly. Let's close that down. And what I'll do is I'm going to go into the options, and I'm going to set the display. Here we go. Let's pick a display that I'm actually using correctly. Here we go. Let's see what that works like. Is this going to work? The only thing is, my only concern is the bar might be, yeah, I thought so. The bar's off the bottom, so you can't actually see it. Here we go. But anyway, you can get the gist of it. So basically, what we've got here, I have access to my server, which actually runs all my sites from well, technically a 30-year-old computer. Here we go. Nearly a 30-year-old, let's say a 28-year-old computer, because that's realistically what this one is. And I've got access to, I can do my work if I wanted to. And it's, funnily enough, it's not too slow. It's not too bad at all. You can actually use this. So, for example, I could do a query. Yeah. So basically, it's just being used. Select star. I don't know if that's going to work. There we go. There you go. So yeah, so there you go. So I can I can access servers using remote desktop, which I've got to be honest, I think it's kind of cool. I'm obviously not necessarily going to be doing this, but one thing is actually quite good is you could, if you've got a virtual machine which you've got set up, you could actually put a more modern browser on it and then access the internet that way, which I think would be kind of useful. Right, let me just log off. Here we go. Let's log out of that. So all this is happening on a very old computer at the moment. There we go. So close that down. There you go. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think that's fairly cool. Right. So I'm going to draw a bit of a line here. I know. Let me just show you one more program. Something that's really, really nice. And in the old days, I'm no artist. I'm no musician either. But a lot of people used to use TV Paint. TV Paint's an absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's using the modern graphics cards. So if I've got the right screen size, here we go. This will open up. I just picked the wrong mode, that was all. Here we go. So you can still see it on there. And what it was, what I always used to do was this. It's like as a part of the demo, look, pick a colour and then do that, and you get this nice smooth images. And I mean, it's just an amazing piece of software. And create hello world, create brush. Let me go there, hello world. So, yeah, more talented people than me can play with this. Grab that image, we can move it around, put it up there. Fantastic, but in 24-bit, I showed you Brilliance, and to be fair, actually, internally it worked 24-bit, which is why it was brilliant. But yeah, so let's quit out of this now. That's it. So, I think I've covered most things. I'm sure there's probably stuff that I've missed. After this is going to be a bit more information about how I built this. So, but for now, thanks very much. Hopefully it's piqued your interest. I'm not necessarily recommend you go out and buy one, but if you're a bit of a nutter like me, to build this machine, it's cheaper to build a PC. Trust me, and then emulate it. No, it's a bit of it's a hobby. But as I said to people, it's like owning an old car. It's nice to have these old, this hobby, and I like to build them and make them do things that even they weren't supposed to do. In fact, I did that back in the day. Thanks very much. See ya. Okay, so I suppose what you want to see is this is the how did I make this? Now this is it's an interesting story if you're interested. Otherwise it's pretty boring. But basically, what I wanted to do is to I've developed these cameras. In fact, I do a number of cameras to do with 360 video. So basically, you can film the whole world and you can see all around, as you can do with this. And I've kind of got tied up with all the work of development, the software and the hardware and the rigs, and I kind of forgot my other hobby, which is my Amiga side of things. So I thought I'd combine the two things. I'll do a video all about one of my Amigas, which, funny enough, the most popular video I did was for this 3000, which is 169,000 views, which is way past anything else I've ever done. So I thought, well, see if I can get somewhere near that, maybe half that or whatever, and do something with the 2000, but do it in 360, so kind of cross-pollination of interest. So, and the other thing about the Amiga was always it was breaking new ground, and sadly, of course, nowadays it's not so much. But here's the irony here: that many years ago, I used to run a company called Checkmate Digital, and we developed a number of things. And one of the things we did was it's called the Checkmate 1500, which was basically taking a 500, but turning it, giving it a slot, and making it as near as damn it into a 2000. So hence the irony of me buying a 2000. But I never actually owned a 2000. Funny enough, I had a 1500, I had a 4000. Funny enough, and I had a 3000, but I never actually had a 2000 myself. So I bought one recently, because I always admired them. They were amazing machines, and that was one of the things that with the 1500. This is the Checkmate 1500, not the silly Commodore one, which they got a sticker and put it on there just to upset us. Just so Dave Pleasance is releasing a book about like all the stories from the Commodore days. So that might be very interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, because I had a little meeting with one of the chaps there and didn't go too well, but I'm not sure that up here. But anyway. So let me. I'm going to show you. Let me just see if I can load this up, because what I want to do. If I turn this on, are you going to see this? Sorry, this is really well prepared, but I want to show you what's actually filming this. If I do that, yeah, here we go. Right, so if you can see on the screen, let me grab this. Well, I haven't got an awful lot of room. Right, okay. So if you can see this. Can you see this little rig? This is the rig that's filming what you're looking at. It's getting a bit flashy, isn't it? And basically all it is two. This actually got a couple of what we call Entapano lenses, and they're quite expensive. In fact, the lenses doubled the price of the rig. So the actual rig, if you bought it like this, Okay, it's £500 for the canvas rig, and it also includes my software. Now my software, if you can see that screen over there, if I wave, that's, oh actually I can zoom in, can't I? Here we go. That's a program called XSplit, but it's actually, you'll see that there's this massive image there. That's my software, is stitching the video from these two cameras and making it into a 360 equirectangular display. And that's basically what's doing all this. So yeah, so but I do other rigs actually, but this is the most useful, I think. Let's zoom out a bit. I do others with 6 cameras, 7 cameras, 8 cameras to get some really high quality 360 video. Okay, but yeah, I thought it was kind of a promotional thing. It's kind of killing 6 birds at once. I wanted to do this video, and I thought, oh, you know, let's just do it in 360. So let me pop that back there. Right, let's pop that back up there. Let's get that image back up so you've got something to look at. Yeah, so as far as that's concerned, so that's how this video is done. It's done with that camera, and it basically is two USB feeds that go into my big PC over there. That's then wrapped using my software, wraps it onto basically a ball and takes a picture in the middle and does it in real time. And then I use XSplit. So you'll notice if you looked at that image again. Should I show you again? Right, no, you don't. No, I don't need to. See this here. This image, this video here, is laid over the top using XSplit broadcast. It's laid over the top so that you can see it. It's almost like it's another monitor here, and the one on the left, that's the same thing again. But I have a real problem with that because I wanted to. I actually bought a load of kit. It's the amount of kit I bought to try and make this video. I never spent so much. Normally I just turn it on and just waffle on, and then just done with that. But this time I actually went for a lot of trouble building this machine. So I hope it's appreciated, or multiplied. I hope you're enjoying it. But basically, this from the Cybervision output, I bought a VGA to HDMI export tool thing, which worked because I tried it on the little laptop over there that's running the AROS. But the signals, I think its pixel clock is way too low on the CyberGraphics because it wasn't meant for modern monitors, and it can't give, and it can't be converted into an HDMI signal that my capture card can record. So it was an absolute nightmare. So what I ended up doing was, let me just grab this again. What I ended up doing, I should have just left that on, shouldn't I? Come here, right. What I end up, can you see this? So basically, one of my little Get 2 cameras, I've got it on a tripod and it's pointing at the screen. Yeah, it's pointing at the screen, and then that's been overlaid onto this whole video so you can see the display. Now you'll notice that because it's actually got a mild fisheye lens on it, so it kind of distorts it. But funny enough, when you put it back again, you'll notice the top and the bottom line is straight, but the sides are bowed, and that's just part of the process. Now, I unfortunately I didn't have a video camera high enough resolution to be able to do that display, so it's been an absolute nightmare. The Amiga side display was really easy. It's just a case of running it out, either composite or YC, straight from the genlock through the VLab motion, funnily enough, and the whole thing. So I've got one signal all going out into another capture card in the PC, which allows you to see that. So yeah, it's highly interesting. A lot of problems doing it. Now, in the near future, what I'm going to do. In fact, let me just bring this back up again. Let's bring this back up again. Hang on, I can't remember. Oh, there we go. I just want to put that thing up here. So. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm build. What we watch? Yeah, we're watching. Right. There we go. Right. So yeah. So of course it's all set up, genlocked. So I basically, so in here I have the signal coming. I can show you the video. Let me get. Right, at the back, the unsung, well, not unsung hero, a couple of unsung heroes. what we've got here is a no, I'm on my third genlock. I had a GVP one, but I broke it. Messed around with video signals. I think I blew it up. And I had a Rendell one, but that didn't work. But this one's actually came in. It cost me £12, and it actually works really nicely. And so, of course, you can overlay the Amiga's graphics on the top. See, it's absolutely brilliant. Now, this is the unsung hero. This little thing here, and I actually bought. And I had one of these a long time ago, and this is called. It's an Arcos 605 with the VTR controller, and what it allows me to do, if you saw the videos, I can use it as a video source, almost like the digital video, but it can play into the genlock and put the video underneath it. It just makes life a lot easier. It's a really nice little device. I bought another one. I had it years ago and I sold it, but I bought another one just for this video. So they're actually really good. Now, the one thing when I recorded when I recorded the Amiga 1000 video, people said, how did you capture it? I fed the composite into that device and I recorded it with that, and it's a fantastic, if you're into classic Amiga machines, that is a fantastic way of recording the display. Okay, so just take it either out of genlock with a Super VHS. You can go Super VHS and get very good quality. I did it in composite, but it's amazing what you can do with it. Anyway, let's pop that back up. I think I've covered most things. I suppose the one thing really I could talk about is why do I use 3.1 and not go on to 3.9? Well, the simple reason is that I've used it in the past and on slower machines, and it slowed down something chronic. All the extra little bits, and I'm sure it made it lovely, but it just made the machine really slow. And this thing, even before I put in the accelerator, was actually fairly quick. But of course, now what I've got is, I've got a bog standard. Let me just open this up, right? So here's, you can see this up here, right? So basically, I've got a bog standard Workbench 3.1 with Kickstart 3.1, but I've upgraded it with MUI, Magic User Interface. I've also put on it the Magic Workbench icons, which I really like, and I'm not a big fan of new icons. I mean, they're okay, but I just think Magic Workbench just brings back so many memories for me. They look really nice. You'll notice if I didn't have, there's problems. Funnily enough, a little tip for you: if you run in any more than 8 colours, you're going to have real problems with the display of Magic Workbench, because if you're higher than that, like the graphics card, there will be the palette gets wrong. You can run the new icons toolkit and it sorts it out, but I never got that working. But funnily enough, built into Opus 5.9, I don't know if it's in the earlier ones. I've got 5859, I think it was in here. It's got new icons built in, so it fixes all the palette issues. Brilliant. I mean, I almost left it just for that, which meant I didn't have to go to new icons. So if I go to Magic User Interface, which I think, no, it's not, it's got its own in here. Here we go, Magic User Interface. So I've got Magic User Interface. I've got a whole load of support, a few little support bits and pieces. I've got MPEG-A so I can play my MPEG video. I really like it. So I just decided to stick with 3.1. I've no reason to move on. I did install AHA as well, which is using the 8-bit chip. It's not got a 16-bit card, so it's using the 8-bit chip. And everything, like when it's the MP3 playback, everything's going through AHI. So the Paula chip is doing AHI. So it's absolutely amazing. So this is actually a seriously cool piece of computer, and it's also got my favourite text editor. So oh my god, I've been really having some fun setting this up, and there you go. I just really like that. I just really like that. But I also, just a tip, when I'm doing this, because of making all the changes, I have backups. So I have it in 3 partitions. You'll notice there's a dodgy partition. It's not. That's the partition that's used by the VLab Motion. But if I go into DH2, Scarlet, backups, there we go, backups. I've got a whole load of backups. These are complete system backups. So at various stages, so I can, whenever I'm finished something, I do a backup of the entire system. So if one of the partitions goes down, then I can just restore it at any state I like. So I recommend anyone doing that with this. Sadly, they're all on the same hard drive, so I have got to take that off. the subject on my my accelerator card. Now, oh God, that is really depressing. I don't know if you want to reboot the machine, although it probably would actually show you, but she's an old girl, and sometimes if you reboot, she doesn't reboot properly. So, but I have this problem where when I reboot, it comes up with this text SCSI to device return an error and I have to press resume, and it basically is going through every single channel on the SCSI 2 bus, all 64 channels of them, 62 channels, whatever it is. Going through all of them, just checking them and saying, oh, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. And so I have to resume, and then it boots because I've got an O60 card for very little money. I suppose the subject of yeah, I was a bit. No, I don't think I was naughty. I kind of funded the. I found this Tech Magic accelerator card for 200 quid, and they, at the same time they had a Picasso 4 with all the extras for another 250 pounds. So I snapped them both up, and then I sold the Picasso 4 with all the extras to recoup the money for everything. So it kind of, I got my accelerator card for free. But although having said that, the chip was dead, so I then put an EC version of the O60 chip on it. That worked, and I thought I'll get an FPU version. And then I found a 75 megahertz one on a site. I think it might have been a rebadge thing, but it works. But it won't only run at the moment happily at 50 megahertz. But so this is one of those 60s, got an FPU on it. It's pretty cool little machine. Yeah, so I think it's absolutely amazing myself. But there you go. No 16-bit sound cards, all 8-bit. I've got my little displays here, which these are fantastic. I picked these up for about £15 each. I've got 2 more in the loft. So yeah, but the next video, which might be sometime, I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to literally convert this into a full NTSC machine and get this working with my toaster, which is up in the loft, funnily enough. I'm going to get this working with my toaster, and then I'm going to do the same kind of video but showing all about the toaster and show why it was so good. And had Commodore not died, which is very, very obviously very sad, but had Commodore not died, then we may have been digital video now, been like taken over the top, taking over. So, one thing I didn't mention in the who am I bit. I also did a system called Siamese system. In fact, actually, while I'm offline, let me go online. I was just going to download a picture of something. So basically, Siamese system allowed this display to be put onto an Amiga, onto a Windows display. So you use the Windows graphics card as your display for the Amiga. Nowadays that's been kind of killed off by Amiga Forever and so on. But in those days it was quite special. Now at the time, basically, am I online? Let me go to. I just want to show you a picture of something. Hopefully you've all seen Amiga Forever. And I noticed in here we go. I noticed in the video there is in here simple mode. Do you know what? I don't think it's on there now. Oh, that's a shame. Let me just see if I can get this one. I'm going to copy that to my RAM disk. PCI. Oh, actually, that might be. Sorry, bear with me a second. I know this is, but it's probably worth it. Right, copy. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this picture because is it in here? No. Sometimes. Sometimes. There we go. Right. There. Now let me just load this up. What picture is this? Okay, here we go. That's fine. So if you look on this picture here, okay. So if you looked in the video, there was this little clip in here. I showed this to people before, and it says here. It says in this bit here about the production of Amiga emulator cards for PC's development of the Amiga operating. Now, this was the thing that killed my company off completely. Right? Now, I won't bore you with the subject, but it wiped me out. So this product here was a product that was worked with Mick Tinker. And he had this board. It was a 68. You can see it's a 6840 card with a PCI slot. Now that was the idea. Was Gateway were going to buy this from us. They were going to put these cards into their PCs and give them Mac. Because I'm showing you the Macintosh side of things, the emulation side of things. So we're going to give their Windows machines, Amiga and Macintosh, functionality, and it wasn't emulation, it was literally going to run on the machine. So you can see the Siamese software was the thing that would sit on top of that card and actually do everything through RTG, and this was many years ago. And let's make sure you get to see Paul Nolan in there. So basically Paul Nolan and I were working on the software. He wrote the bulk of the software under guidance and kind of thing. And it was always an interesting discussion, like, well, whose idea was it? Well, you remember, and I sent him the email with the idea of what I wanted to do, because in those days there was no such thing as remote desktop. There was nothing like that. And I'm pretty sure we were the first ever to do this, and we didn't make any money out of it, sadly. And had we gone Windows to Windows, it would have made a fortune, but we didn't. But anyway, so that was the plan. We was going to do that. So had the whole fiasco not happened, to be honest, things might have been a bit different. My plan always was with this was to start off with the Amiga display taking over the Windows display, and it becoming a 6840 based Amiga, emulating the chipset, retargeting the chipset, and then over time transfer the Amiga's operating system onto Windows. That was always my plan. That's what it was going to be, but it got wiped out. So anyway, just a little background story, which is why I still love my Amigas, and that's basically what I would have done. And I'm not saying it would have made any difference, because forces were controlling the Amiga's destiny, which didn't really give a monkeys, so probably nothing would happen. But they pulled the plug on the project, so there you go. Right, let's tie up now. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. This is a how-to. Technically, this is probably going to be about a 50 gigabyte movie. If you're interested in 360 video, come to my site, Brahma360.com. Look me up on Facebook, Brahma360, and I'll put some links on this video. Thanks very much if you've made it this far. I'm stunned. But thanks for taking the time to watch it, and if you made it to the end, thanks for your patience, and hopefully you've enjoyed it and got something out of it. And maybe even if you're not into Amigas, maybe this will get you into Amigas, because there are new machines coming.